Can we stop this narrative that Ronaldo deserves a World Cup? Because it's just false. In 5 World Cups that he has played, he has failed to have at least one good run in that World Cup. For a player that's been put in GOAT debate, greatest of all time debate, to have 8 goals in 5 World Cups, that is severely underwhelming. Especially when you put into perspective that Just Fontaine scored 13 in one tournament. Now let's look at Ronaldo fans' excuses on how Portugal failed Ronaldo in winning World Cups. Look at the teams. From 2006, he had Figo, Carvalho and Deco in his team. What more do you need to have a good World Cup run? 2010 was a bit weaker, but also other European countries apart from Spain were also declining in their golden generation. But he still had João Moutinho, he still had Pepe, and still had Carvalho. Then 2014, he got better. He still had Pepe, Nani, Fabio Contral from Real Madrid, and a more experienced João Moutinho. In 2018, the golden generation started blossoming. He had Bernardo Silva, João Moutinho, Guedes, Ruben Neves, and a very experienced Pepe. And then in 2022, in his best possible chance, it still did not work out. And then if you come and tell me that no, those teams you named, those squads you named was not quality enough for Ronaldo, are you going to tell me that the squad of Croatia that went to the final in 2018 was better than any version of Portugal's squad that Ronaldo has in those 5 World Cup runs? And how can you blame Portugal when Ronaldo himself has failed to score 0 knockout goals in the World Cup? 0 in 5 attempts. And you can't tell me about football heritage. Portugal's highest finish was 3rd with the legendary Eusebio. Yet Ronaldo has not sniffed anything close to that in his 5 World Cup attempts. Of course, with Ronaldo having the most international goals of all time, that for me cements him as a top 10 international players of all time. Cool. But let's analyze those goals. He has 143 goals at the point of this recording in total. 14 were scored in the Euros, 8 were scored in the World Cup, and the other 14 were scored in the Nations League. So now when you add all those numbers up for the Euros, Nations League and the World Cup, you only get 36 goals. 143 minus 36 goals is 107. So you're telling me that this man has scored 107 practically useless goals in his career at that point? Because you can't tell me that Portugal were ever at risk of never qualifying for the World Cup in those qualifiers. You cannot tell me that and look me dead in the eye and tell me that Portugal were ever at risk when they were playing Luxembourg and Armenia. No golden ball, no young player of the tournament, no elite performances in the World Cup. That does not deserve a World Cup for me.